The other day you were talking about comfort being addictive.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So there should be some context with that, right? So we were together.
Yes.
And then I started having thoughts after we were together. Do I say we were having sex?
No, don't say that. No.
Okay, so we leave that out. Well, that's where it came from, because I was like, I'm really comfortable, and I started thinking about it.
Is that how we started talking about it, though?
It could be like an addictive drug. Just think about the things that you let slip in the name of comfort. Think about what you tolerate in the name of comfort. Think about what you don't do because you want to stay in your comfort zone. It has such a massive impact on everything in your life. It reminds me of something that you always say.
The how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because if you stop and you think about that, it's like, I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't want to go today. I haven't been to the gym in 6 years. Why am I obese, right? Why am I heavy? Why can't I lose the weight? I can't go to the gym. I don't have enough time, right? I don't have enough focus or energy. It's like, people will make excuses to stay comfortable, to stay where they are. Yeah. They'll shortchange where they could be or building a positive habit because they don't want to pivot. They don't want to push themselves, you know? Yeah. Tell me a situation, or maybe tell me a scenario where you can observe that or where you see that.
I think the fitness example is probably the best example of that, because comfort, there has to be context, right? Because there's comforting things that we look forward to that give us a feeling of safety and familiarity that, okay, we're not talking about laying in bed and watching a movie at the end of a long work day type of comfort that's bad. We're talking about complacency.
Right.
And there's a bigger battle to be fought there, because you're battling human instinct. Your human instinct is to stay comfortable. Yeah. Because comfort means safety. And so when you want to go to the gym, or skydiving is an extreme example, or on a roller coaster, or on a first date or something, and you like, I could just stay home and be comfortable. That's the better choice. That's your brain telling you there's an unknown situation. There's a threat of danger, unknown, that you're fighting against. So it has to be, when we talk about motivation, and
it's such a crock of shit.
We've heard it from a million different podcasters and influencers who say motivation isn't real. It has to be a decision.
It comes after the habit kicks in and you start doing what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Right. You really, only motivation comes when you start to see results of something.
Right.
You get the promotion at work, or you start to see results in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, your relationship starts to get better, so you're more motivated to do the extra work to keep it. So motivation only comes when you've already started to achieve the thing. Everything before that has to be a decision. So when we started talking about this subject, you know, I had said...
it was a couple days ago.
Yeah, I had said anytime you choose comfort, you're betraying your potential. And
fucking so good. It's so, could you say that one more time, because it's like, it just hits so hard.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, every day that you choose comfort, you're betraying your potential. So
I hope you guys heard that shit.
Yeah. Well, an example of that is if you go to work. How many of us have fuck it days where we say, you know what, I've worked so hard this week, today I'm just going to take it easy.
Yeah.
And if you're in a results driven career where every day you have to show up and every day makes a difference, you take it easy that day, you choose comfort, then the potential for how great that day could be, you know, kind of goes out the window. And it's the same for fitness too. And people are really going to be mad at us for talking about this. Here's the way I think about it. And this is a hot take compared to what you've heard when they say it's not about motivation, it's about making a decision, it's about discipline. And even though you don't
have this fucking symphony orchestra in the background, like, building and building, like, I'm gonna hit the punchline and motivate you and change your life.
Yeah, like you don't want to do it, but make yourself do it. You
got this.
Yeah. And it's true. It is a decision. It is a commitment when you want to do something. But why fitness is a good example is because your brain will fight you every day. Don't go to the gym. Yeah. You're doing something uncomfortable. It's going to hurt your muscles. It's for the betterment of you. And so it feels like you can come up with excuses.
Because nobody wants to do it.
Right. Nobody wants to. Nobody's 90% of the time you're not super pumped to go
until
work
you
out.
start seeing those results, and now you're like,
now the motivation comes. The way I think about it is connect with your future self, because you're connecting with yourself today and you're saying, I'd just rather stay in bed than go work out. I'm going to feel really comfortable and enjoy it right now. But when fast forward to tonight and your future self is getting ready for bed, are you going to be glad about that
Netflix
choice?
When Netflix is like, are you still there? You've been watching the same shit for 4.5 hours.
Yeah. You didn't follow through on anything you committed to do today. Netflix is here for you, but we're still a little worried about you.
Okay, side note, Netflix should fucking put a disclaimer. Hey, did you do that laundry? Are you still watching, or did you do the dishes? Are you still watching, or have you fed the kids yet? Like, just remind you that you're kind of a piece of shit right now for watching our stuff for this long.
Hey, binging Netflix has its place. When you're sick, you have an injury, whatever, it has its place, but it has to be intentional.
It's Friday night, and
that's a whole other subject, talking about being intentional.
Let me enjoy my beverage. God, I'm having to two-hand this giant monster, so big for my mouth. That's good.
That's falling on glass right there.
That's delicious.
That's pinky out. That's a crayon apple.
Oh man, it's got a good leg on it.
Cosmopolitan.
Ooh. Oh, I'm dripping already.
Yeah, well, it's aged because it's sitting there waiting on you. So that's why it's got a leg.
All right, I'll bring it back.
So I'll reel it back in. So connect with your future self and think about, how are you going to feel if you choose comfort in this moment versus the commitment that you made. Yeah. Never break a commitment with yourself. We break commitments with other people all the time. We decide, we break plans, whatever. Don't break commitments to yourself, because your future self will be disappointed. And always think about, I'm very consequence driven. So whether it's a food choice, a choice at work, an exercise choice, or choosing not to do that, I'll always think about, how am I going to feel afterwards if I do. I may not feel super motivated right now or driven to do the thing I've committed to doing, but if I fall through with it, I'm going to feel so glad that I did afterwards. So
absolutely,
it's just a different perspective on it.
It's so profound when you start thinking about all the shit that matters through the lens of, is it comfortable? Am I improving it? Am I evolving? Because all the important things in life are perishable, right? Like you always hear that, it's a perishable skill, something you're doing, some activity, it's perishable. If you don't fine tune it, if you don't stay up on it, you're going to lose it, right? And there's certain things where there's certain gifts that people have, but for the other 90-something% of people who have to work at certain things every time they do it, you have to stay honed in, you have to stay sharp with it. So if you look at it from that lens of, it suffers if you don't flex it, it suffers if you don't work on it, it suffers if you don't feed it. You can even look at relationships, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many times where it would just be easy to, fuck it, I don't feel like going out, I had a long day at work, let's just hang out at the house. I really don't feel like going on a date tonight, I'm not going to make the coffee in the morning, I'm sure she'll take care of it,
Yeah, even just talking. So again, even if you say, we are too tired or money's tight, we can't go out, let's stay in, still make it an event and an effort towards your relationship. Let's have a conversation about our day. Let's make a commitment to put our phones to the side. Let's make dinner together, whatever it is. It's still an effort that you're following through with.
Kind of like we talked about before, being present, being focused, intentioned. We've been doing this for how long? 20 years now. So the biggest thing for us has been, don't stop dating each other.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we still plan shit for each other. We still do celebrate the birthdays. We still get out, on a Friday. We'll still get dressed up, go downtown, right? There's planfulness there. It is work, right? It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot more effort than just saying, fuck it. Like, we'll just hang out we'll hang out at home and eat a pizza, or you're going to cook some, amazing meal for us. And then we're just going to sit here and not go out and do anything. But there's effort that you have to put into it. Otherwise it's going to suffer. That's why we still plan awesome dates. That's why we still make it a point to do those things that take effort and push us out of our comfort zone, but we do it because we want to keep the relationship going. We do it because we want to develop and continue to develop and enrich our connection. And just like you said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you start relinquishing or letting go of things that are important, right? Especially your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your siblings, your relationship with your close friends, that is going to be who you are. So you have to take those steps in order to ingrain that, to always make it an effort, always make it important. And if you do that, that's how you're able to have these victories, right? Like that's how you and I can talk about this shit and feel like we know what we're saying, or that we have some authority on the matter. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that you hit on was complacency, right? And I mean, like, I don't think people grasp how detrimental complacency is. If you don't actually stop and think about it, it is the opposite of progress, right? It's the antithesis of that. You have to go in the other direction. And I always heard complacency kills, my previous job, but that was true. That was real. That was accurate. Complacency kills all those important things. Does. All the perishable shit. If you just are lackadaisical, you let it go and you get complacent with it, then it's going to suffer.
It's really true with everything.
Yeah.
It's not just being okay with how things are, but not having a growth mindset, not wanting things to improve or to progress. And we talked about
staying where you are.
So just staying where you are because it's comfortable.
The world is growing around you.
I was just going to say that, damn it.
Great minds, babe.
Yeah, like we're saying the same
I'll
shit.
cheers to that. Come on.
No, my drink's almost emptied. There you go. Well, that's it. The world keeps growing. People keep evolving. If you choose to be complacent and stay the same, everything will go past you. You will get outpaced in your own life.
Yeah.
If you don't, and it's not about being high functioning, ambitious. It's just, how do you make yourself a little bit better each day?
Yeah.
And how do you follow through on commitments for things that you've been wishing for or that you've been wanting to do? How do you show up for yourself? We use such a little bit of our full potential.
Yeah.
The percentage is so small, what we use for the human brain. So how do we tap into that?
Right.
But it comes with discomfort. It comes with, like you said, getting out of your comfort zone and connecting with your future self. What would need to be true for me to achieve this goal for myself? And a lot of it is just overcoming yourself.
Yeah. So it makes me think, so how do people identify that, right? Like, how do they know if they are being outpaced or if they're stagnant? If you could look at your life, and I'm sorry to go after, a staple in American television. If you can think to yourself that, oh, Al Bundy's got this shit figured out, or you look around, you're kind of like him. Like, you get home, you plop yourself on the couch, and like you don't feel like doing anything. You take your belt off, and that's it. Like, that's your life day in and day out. Then you're probably shortchanging your ambition.
It's about what makes you happy, but it's also about what brings you joy. And if you're just content, with being comfortable, and most people don't even think beyond that. And if that's the truth, then they'll just never leave the couch other than for the things that they're obligated to do to survive. But it never goes past surviving. It's never thriving with anything. But it's beyond happiness and comfort is joy. And joy comes from the things that are a little bit riskier to do or a little bit more nerve-wracking or uncomfortable. Yeah. I think that's when those joyous experiences actually happen.
That's a really great point, because that brings so much fulfillment, right? When you realize you get rid of that limiting belief, you shut down that voice in the back of your head and you start trying to do these things. When you start realizing that you're capable, then it becomes so much more of a rewarding experience, right? Yes. Even if you're still in the same place, you realize, well, I don't have to stay here. You know, there's growth, there's potential, there's more that I can do. There's going to be people who are going to say, I can't do it, I don't have enough time. Listen, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and you just have to choose the shit that matters to you. But I think that there's actual opportunity to use some of those limiting beliefs to your advantage, right? Like, you have anxiety, leverage that shit, right? Your mind works at 100 miles an hour, constantly thinking of everything. Use that and grow with it.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, because anxiety and depression are the same part of the brain that's affected, and think about all the successful comedians that have depression or high functioning CEOs that have anxiety.
Yeah.
It's how do you leverage those things? And granted, there's varying degrees of what you can actually do with it, but what I had said to you was my anxiety actually makes me very good at my job.
Yeah.
Because my brain's always going 100 miles per hour. When you have anxiety, you're always trying to problem solve. You're trying to identify roadblocks or how things could go wrong and how you'll overcome it. And so you have a predetermination for how bad things could be and what's your action plan around that. But then when you succeed at something, it's so rewarding, because usually if you have high functioning anxiety, you're also probably a bit of an achiever. And so having those wins or having that success can be very rewarding. You just have to channel those feelings.
Victim or achiever, channel it, make yourself an achiever.
Yeah. I mean, since you're bringing up victim or achiever, I mean, a good example of that too is even with, my back injury and having 2 back surgeries.
Two failed back surgeries.
Crippling
recovery, broke off a piece of her spine. They had to chase it anyway.
Yeah. And I only bring that up because there was definitely moments I felt very sorry for myself, and I thought, that's it. I can't be a runner ever again. Like, I can't weightlift or exercise or achieve my fitness goals. It's all over. They told me I need a fusion, all of that. And it's managing it day by day, but I didn't give up on my goals because it would have been easier and more comfortable to just say, I have a spine injury. Yeah. Like, I can't exercise. I can't do anything but lay in bed.
Right.
You get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you have to trust yourself for what you're capable of doing, but you can do so much more than you think is possible.
I think that's so key, between knowing that you are capable of more than you currently are, because we're all new at something. We all suck at something at first, right? It's until we embrace the suck and we start pushing through it, and then we see what we're capable of.
Yeah.
And I feel like that pairs so well with what you mentioned about joy, because you start being able to embrace some of these other feelings or emotions or experiences, right? And some of these are momentum driven.
Right.
You can't actually be happy until you're grateful. Without gratefulness,
so true,
there is no happiness, right? So if you are wondering, why I can't feel happy, why I can't feel joy, what are you grateful for? And every single person, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what's going on. There is a silver lining. There is something that you can be grateful for. We've all seen that fucking meme where it's a guy driving his car, stuck in traffic, and he's like, man, I wish I had a better car because it's falling apart and I hate it, and then you have the guy on the bicycle next to him who's like, oh man,
I had a car.
I wish I had a car, that'd be awesome. And then you see the freaking guy next to him who's walking like, I wish I had a bike. And then rolls up the guy in the wheelchair. I wish I had legs that worked, like this. So there's so many graduations. There's so many different degrees where you can find gratefulness if you stop and you actually look for it. And that's the key for pivoting into that joy. That's the key for realizing that, what? I can do more than I currently am. I can push harder than I am. If I'm unhappy with something, if I'm unhappy with where I am in my job, if I'm unhappy where I am with my body, with my health, if I'm unhappy where I am with my spouse, with my loved one, with my partner, right? You have to embrace that in order to achieve everything that you want out of life.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And I think you just kind of wrote the roadmap for getting out of your comfort zone is start with gratitude. What do you currently have that you're thankful for? What are you currently able to do that you're grateful that you're able to do it because want to do more than what they currently have?
Able-minded, yeah.
Yes, that's so true. Like able-bodied, but able-minded.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest obstacle.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people who have physical limitations and achieve things that
incredible
things that we can't do.
And you just see it on TikTok, you're like, oh, well, good for them. That's cool. And then you fucking go to the next dog or kitty. Oh, I do love dog and cat videos.
Yeah,
but
that's joy.
Even somebody who is afflicted with something so much more challenging than you still write it off because you want to stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Because That's where safety is. That's where familiarity is, staying in your comfort zone. But if you're thinking, I wish, and you want something better for your life, but you're not taking the action steps, start with gratitude, but then start with making a list of commitments to yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like it's you versus your goals. It's you and it's really you versus you.
Yeah.
And you want to embrace your goals, but you have to keep those commitments, whether it is the plethora of all the things we talked about in your job, your health and fitness, relationships. It applies really to everything. Just start with one thing you can do each day that feels a little bit uncomfortable.
Right.
Even us having these conversations in front of a microphone is uncomfortable, but we wanted to bring a message to the world. So there's greatness. That's why they say, like, greatness comes when you leave your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. It's so true for everything. But you have to think through your action steps of what does that mean for you.
I fucking love that. Cheers, baby.
I didn't drink.
I'm gonna hit. How should we open this? Just start rapping and tackling? Or should I just... don't move. Don't move.
Me?
Okay. No. I'm sorry. The table. Oh. Did you freeze though?
Yeah.
Nice. Good fucking job, babe.
I mean, I played freeze tag in school. I know.
I played Ollie auction free, or was that in freeze tag? Yeah, I had to say that to get out, right? Did you ever say that?
No.
No? You didn't fucking play.
Is that like a church rule?
No, that's just what the cool kids said to get out.
No cool kids ever saw Ollie oxen free.
Fuck you. So, the fuck are we talking about?